Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Chats with Children. I hope you're safe and well. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by my good friend, Jesse Mclaughlin from Aqua-Chem, who is actually here to talk about ISPE Boston's product show, which is coming up in September. In fact, on September the 20th, at the New England Patriots Gillette Stadium. I hope I've got the name of the stadium right, because I don't like talking about the Patriots. And the reason we're doing that is actually, as well as working for Aqua-Chem, Jesse is also VP of the ISPE Boston Chapter. So Jesse, first of all, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. It's good to see you in your orange shirt. I'm sure you have orange shoes on too.
No, I've actually got sandals on this morning. But
all right.
But last time you and I actually met was in Boston last May for PEGS, actually. So how have you been? How's life?
I've been well. It's been a great year. I've been really enjoying it. I got teenagers, so we always have tons of fun. And this year has been a fun one, seeing my first off to college and some others, in high school. So great year and a great year coming up here for our new product show in 2023.
Fantastic. I'm glad to hear it, Jesse. Look, now, before we start talking about the product show, though, for people who are not familiar with ISPE in general, and also more specifically about the ISPE Boston Chapter, can you give me a quick overview of both?
Sure. ISPE, International Society of Pharmaceutical Engineers, is what that stands for, in case anybody didn't know. It's an international organization all over the world. There's chapters in sort of hubs all over the world. I'm part of the Boston one, which is what this is about. And ultimately, what this does is this organization serves and supports the engineering community, specifically related to the manufacturing of pharmaceutical goods. And this is important. We met at PEGS. That is not what PEGS is about. There's a lot of stuff about the research, front end of stuff. This is about the manufacturing, how to build a facility, how to do it, better, what that continual improvement, how are we commissioning and qualifying those things? What's the regulatory, interaction with that? So that's what ISPE does. And in Boston, what's special about Boston, and I got my shirt on today, so we got right here, this is the ISPE Boston Product Show 2022. We called it the greatest of all time. That was year 30 of that show. But what makes Boston so really unique and fun in this world is it's such a tight hub, right? Boston is the largest, biotech hub in the world. And, it comes out of that Cambridge, everybody knows about MIT and Harvard and all that just brainchild of new stuff coming out. And all these companies just start just on these circles outside of the Boston area. That density and innovation has just led to a really thriving community with pharmaceutical manufacturing. And, at this point, just a lot of years of everything is volunteers. This whole thing is volunteers, right? And just a lot of years of volunteers doing great work to bring this community together and try to find new ways to make the next generation of facilities, drugs, and services for the people that we do this work for better.
Fantastic. Well, look, that's great. So let's talk more about the product show, though. So you mentioned, obviously, last year was his 30th year. Was that right for the show?
That's right. Yep.
So I suppose there are, as we were just talking about PEGS, and obviously ISPE have got their own annual meeting. There are so many shows, as I know, because I produce an event list, and there's certainly close to 400 shows in a year. And Boston, obviously, being a hub, has so many events already happening. So why do you, as a chapter, do your own product show? And tell me more about it and the history behind it.
Yeah, so ISPE, again, it's been more like an educational resource organization. That's really where so much of its resources go towards in the mission. And now 31 years ago, the thinking was, hey, let's find a way, especially in Boston, to connect vendors with their customers at a single location. Back then it was, I should know this. I think the original one was in a Howard Johnson hotel. I think it was quite small. And it got famous for its shrimp that they served at the event. A lot smaller. And when I first got involved, I think it was 2012 was my first one that I went to. So 11 years ago. And it had just started at Gillette maybe a year or two before then. And it was only one side. Everybody was really spread out. And since then, it just continues to grow. what's so cool is that because so many manufacturers are close in to a small area, we're able to just bring a lot of people, connect them, pack them into one place, and have a good time. And I get to see my customers. Like I see more customers in that day than any event I've ever been to. Not even close. It's not even close. And it's very specific. It's a very niche, space. We're talking about the facility, the manufacturing facility. That's what we're talking about. And, this world of biotech is huge, and there's a lot of niches. And I've been to this, we have these other monster events in Boston that are actually quite a bit bigger than this one, right? And I'll go through that event, walk that event where there's 10,000 people, right? And I won't see near as many of my customers in that event as I will one day here at the Gillette show.
I mean, one question I could ask you is, though, that given, I was looking at the exhibitor list for this year's event, and I know you're sold out as well. It's nearly 400 exhibitors you've got booked, which is bigger than most shows, I have to say, which are international. I mean, there are shows obviously which have got a lot more, but that's quite amazing you've got so many exhibitors. But it's only on one day, so I suppose as a layperson thinking, right, I'd like to go and visit this, right, and I'm looking forward to hopefully coming this year, because unfortunately couldn't make it last year. I'm thinking, but one day, there's no way I can get to see everybody I want to see in one day. So why do you do it for just one day out of interest?
You won't see everybody you want to see. And
no one.
I was on the committee for this show, ended up being the chair of the show for a couple of years, and now I'm not on that anymore. And we were really sort of fighting about this, like trying to figure out, like, what's the best? Should we be moving to a multi-day show? Should we be changing the venue? And I'll tell you, people like it. And we have education events, all these other things. You're not even going to come close to seeing everything you want to do, right? If you go to all the education events, you're not even going to see a vendor, most likely, right? You're not going to see anything. So we've really sort of taken this approach of we're going to make it so action-packed with stuff that you can't help but want to come back because you didn't get to see even close to everything. That's really what we've done. And that's the way it's going to be. So when you come and visit, I guess this will be your first time, right?
It will be, yeah.
I know I tried to get you there last year. So you'll see, you're going to walk into this place and be like, whoa. It's not like an exhibit hall because it's a big giant ring around the whole stadium, right? Sure. And so you're not gonna be able to see everything. It's gonna be confusing, and you're gonna be looking for, where am I gonna go? Because it's another level for education events. It doesn't matter. It actually sort of adds to the cool factor, sort of exploring your way around this thing. And it's a little bit of a problem sometimes from year to year. Like, how do I get from this side to this side? But it makes it more fun. It sort of makes a little bit of an adventure as your day goes, and trying to visit with as many of your customers
Well, Jesse, that's a beautiful segue. Actually, my next question was going to be, what topics and sort of tracks have you got this year, and why have you got them? And you mentioned education events just now. So to talk viewers through, obviously you just mentioned you've got the exhibitors going around the stadium on the outside of it, but what are the different things that you've got in terms of educational stuff going on at the event?
So we have a couple different focuses, or foci, I don't know, for your day. So we have an education track, which is a little bit more on the technical side of things. You have a professional development track, again, more like career focused, things like that. And then we have like other networking events. All of these are like overlapping, right? So if you go to one, you're probably going to miss a different one. That's just the way it is. And that's all overlapping our exhibit hall being open from 10 to 6. So on our sort of technical side of things, education, we have topics on AI. We have topics on operational readiness, microbiome therapeutics, digitalization, building management systems, autonomous manufacturing, oligonucleotide. I can never say that word.
No, I can never. It took me ages. Yeah,
right.
Don't worry.
I always screw that one up. So, you got that whole education track. And then right next to it, we have a professional development track where we're trying to help people from bottom to top in their career. Again, we have a whole landing, which is, companies hiring and things like that at the same exact time. So you get to do a bunch of things in that arena to try to sort of spiff up how you're focused on your career. And then you have networking sessions like student development and women in pharma and EDEI. And what else do we have? We have a volunteer drive because we're always looking for new volunteers. Please come on, volunteer. We veterans in pharma, and then we have a big famous after party at the end of the day. So many things, and they're all overlapping, and we want to leave you wanting more.
All right. Now, apart from the educational tracks and so on that you mentioned, and obviously the exhibitor stands, I know you do lots of other fun stuff throughout the day, and you just mentioned the after event party as well. So tell me more about that and what visitors who turn up this year can expect to see outside of those education tracks and the stands.
You know, we've done a lot of things over the years. We'll have special guests throughout the day sometimes where they do signings and you could take pictures, and it might be for a charity or something like that. We have usually something like a headshots booth, stuff like people like that. It's a good opportunity to get in line, get a nice headshot done, because doing it with your phone at home usually isn't near as good, right? And then the party is kind of the big one. That's the one everybody loves, you know, and I've been to a lot of events. I'm sure you have too, when you go to an after party and there's like 100 people, 200 people, maybe milling about, right? Okay, it's fine. You got more food. Maybe there's some beer. Our after party is north of 1,000 people. It's awesome. It's so much fun. And, you know, usually we'll have like a player from the Patriots. This year we sort of mixed it up, did a little different. We have an old prior Celtics player and a Bruins player as sort of a difference. When I first went, they had Gronkowski. Have you ever heard of Gronkowski?
Yeah. I know. Believe me, I love American sports. So hence I've made sure I've got my Waddle jersey.
I see that Dolphins jersey back there. I think they've beaten the Patriots a couple times.
Just
so, but we had Gronk one year, and it was like this sort of substitute. It was awesome, you know. So it's all these things sort of, you pack them together, and it's a little bit of a party all day, but you get to see all of these people in the industry, whether it's other vendors or customers, or really, I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like it in all the events that I've gone to, especially in the US.
Right. Well, one question I was going to ask you, which came into my head though, was that because you've got so much going on throughout the day though, as you said, a lot more overlapping as well, and quite rightly, you can't do that all in a day. Are any of those elements recorded or available digitally after the event?
Oh, geez. You might have caught me on that one. I know we have done that in the past. I don't know if that is set up for this. And if you want, I will get you that answer so that you can put it in your notes after the show.
Well, yeah, well, we can add it in a comment afterwards. Don't worry.
Yeah. So I apologize. I missed that detail. I know.
Well, sorry,
COVID
never planned this. Yeah,
COVID sort of like made some of that needed, right? And so we've started to go that way with everything across ISPE, where in the past it was like, if you weren't there, you weren't there. So it's been a big push, even since sort of the emergency of COVID's gone away. We're trying to do that as much as possible to keep all this content available to members and non-members alike.
Right, cool. Now, so final question for you. Last chance to pitch. And you've done a very good job already, Jesse. So so if anyone is here right now watching and they're going, well, I'm going to be in Boston actually that week. So why should they turn up and come to your event, which I must point out actually is free registration as well. So you don't even have to pay to come. But why should someone attend your event on September the 20th rather than perhaps another big event which is running the same week in Boston?
Oh, don't worry about that event. Hey, and even if you're not coming to Boston, maybe you should start thinking about coming to Boston, is I guess what I would say.
Sure.
But yeah, you know, I've probably said it 7 different ways already, but it is the largest single day pharma event in the world. There's nothing even close to it as of right now. And it's been successful year in and year out. One of the things that we really pride ourselves is the balance of vendors and customers. Like that isn't always the case. Sometimes it just feels like it's a lot of vendors.
Sure.
And certainly that's the case. But because it's free to all people that want to just come and visit, it sort of opens it up. It takes away that barrier. It's usually really easy to get to for people in the Boston area. It's a really neat venue. You're not just going to a hall, right, with a bunch of stuff hanging from the ceiling. They change the rugs out every other day. That really makes it good and a sort of fun environment. and unique from I get to go to something that's different rather than the same thing everywhere else. And I don't think you can find an event where you're going to see as many people in a single day. Sometimes if you're a vendor and you're sitting at your table, it's almost overwhelming. There's so many people around you. And that is a great problem to have when you're at an event. So we pack them in 10 to 6, you're there and then you're out. And it's an awesome thing to be a part of. And honestly, just a chance to meet people you wouldn't have otherwise, make some new friends, and get to know what ISPE is all about, especially in the Boston area.
Fantastic, Jesse. Well, look, thank you for taking the time out. By the way, viewers, we didn't prep any of this, which is why Jesse didn't know I was going to ask him that question. This has been all off the cuff. So Jesse's done a fantastic job of answering all my questions without even knowing what I was going to ask him. So thank you very much for taking time out, Jesse. It's lovely to see you, my friend. Hopefully we will catch up in person. Certainly,
you better find me. You better find me.
Yeah, I won't miss you, guy. You'll be standing out in the crowd anyway. Don't worry. So, but on September the 20th, hopefully I'll be in Boston that week as well and get to come down to the show and talk to you guys. So there you go, viewers. If you are going, you know what to expect. If you haven't been, now you can investigate even further and check out the link. And if you are able to come, it's free. Sign up now and attend the ISPE Boston Product Show. And if you've got any questions for Jesse or any of the team, because they'll all be checking out the video, then put the comments below the video, and I'm sure someone from the team, whether it's Jesse or someone else, will be only too happy to answer any questions you might have. So Jesse, once again, thank you very much for your time, my friend. Enjoy the rest of the summer. I look forward to seeing you hopefully in September, if not even maybe sooner, who knows.
All right.
And viewers, thank you for watching. Enjoy the summer. Until next time, as always, stay well and stay safe. Bye-bye.
See ya.